going to be running a little out of time. So the last session I've chosen to be about workplace culture. Right? And we've had a lot of questions about workplace culture. Do Danes really appreciate direct people? Do you accept non-Danes on the Danish job market? How can a foreigner survive Danish work culture?
Two sentences.
Well, these are some of the questions. I'll take one, which is from Lubomira Sørensen, whom I know. Lubomira. Hi, good to see you.
Hi.
Hi. So you were saying, when the Danish egalitarian structures become excluding for those who are used to hierarchical structures. I understand the question this way, if I can paraphrase it.
Yes.
In Denmark, we have a very flat hierarchy, which is you go to someone who is like informally dressed, who is like doing the cleaning the floor, and you're asking, where is the boss? And he says, I am the boss, right? So how do you respond when you come for a structure, a cultural pattern, where you are, it's very clear who is the boss, who is not the boss. Sometimes this can become something that will turn against you. Do you understand the question? Any comments on this?
Good question.
Marianne?
I think it's all about communication. We work with a lot of culture and in Arla, and particular, for instance, I work a lot with Bangladesh, and there's a huge cultural difference, exactly what you're mentioning in that, but it's about meeting each other, and it's about me remembering when I work with Bangladesh, maybe ask that second question. And it's about when we have other cultures in our office in Copenhagen or in Viby, again, that you raise your hand and tell your boss what's your unawareness. It's just about asking that question. Is it okay that I do this, or do you expect me just to go do this, so that you just set the level of expectation?
Very often when people are coming from these hierarchical structures, they're having also a kind of shame. So, and the case is very often, it is is it appropriate to ask this? This is, I think, would be the very often what I'm experiencing a significant barrier. Yes. So we are very proud in Denmark with our flat structures, but when the other people cannot socialize in this egalitarian structure, we are just it's very easy for us just to exclude them of that reason. That is my personal observation.
I think there is a little bit of a, how do you say this, I don't know if it's that true that we don't have this hierarchy, actually. But I think in many cases it's informal. So you need to find out how it's working in a workplace. Because often I see that there are structures that you need to work in, and it's not this very flat structure that you're talking about. I still see that there is a lot of bossing around by people.
I can tell you in IBM and Maersk, there's a lot of hierarchy and structure.
Yes, and so I don't think it's only the case that we are this flat structures and everybody is just one happy family and the teams are just working. I don't see that actually. So I see your challenge as something else. It's actually trying to find out how your workplace is working. So try to go to the people that know about. Find out who's the most empathic guy or empathic girl in the workplace and ask them, how is it really working here? Who's the boss? How do I engage with different people in this company? Because I think there's still a hierarchy. I don't think you see it that bad actually.
Peter?
Yeah, I agree completely that there are different cultures in all companies. It's not just the Danish culture. There, you have to deal with every single culture and with every company you deal with. When I went for my first job interview with Novo Nordisk 22 years ago, I stopped my car, I got out, I changed I took my jeans off and my t-shirt, and I put on a suit, tie, everything, clean, polished shoes. Went up, met the guy who was doing the interview with me, and he turned up in shorts. This was not what he was shorts, he was in sneakers, he was in a t-shirt. There were holes under his arm in that t-shirt. Okay, and I was there in my suit, and we just sort of looking at each other. But you can then ask the question, is there reason for panic? Is there a problem here? No, because the situation is exactly as you said. You know, it's a question of grasping the situation. And I was in the right because I was slightly overdressed. Well, slightly, and that was, and that's good enough. So I'd taken the position that I should take, and he could do whatever he wanted to take. So I'd hit the mark. So the thing is, don't be afraid of it. You know, just be yourself. And you know, and if you feel that you want more attention from the manager or behave in a certain way in front of the manager, well, do that. And then maybe talk a little about it and say, the reason I'm doing this is because, you know, I come from a different culture. So I just have to get used to this. And so just go for it and teach us about it.
I think these are really good points. I think it's very important to get these issues debated. Maya, you had a point?
Yeah, but don't be afraid of it. I mean, there are also strange people in Denmark. They are not all the same. They're very different from each other, I tell you. And in Copenhagen municipality, there are 22% of the population who have a different, another background than Danes. And we try to mirror the work market in Copenhagen municipality to employ people who have a different background. And I mean, we're Copenhageners, as we say. It's not important, religious, whatever. If you're a good colleague, if you're good to your job, if you're loyal to your job, it doesn't really matter. And a lot of my colleagues, they have got a mentor when they start on that job, who they can go to and ask if there are things that are difficult or something like that. So maybe you could get a job. I think you have a lot of things like that, mentors or something like that, who will help you employ. It doesn't matter nationality, anything like else. Support them to start into their new job.
I just have one last question. How do you, especially for youth who have worked in IBM, for example, how do you manage a hierarchy with different managers, with different cultures in different countries? And when you're different levels of management or in different countries, and how do you integrate this Danish part in there in a very scaled hierarchy?
Please repeat the question.
Yeah, well,
Short paraphrase.
I'm not sure I got, because it was a very long question.
What I'm hearing is that you have different levels of management.
Yes.
And you might have different cultures on these levels of management.
And based in different countries.
Yes.
I work in an American company. My direct manager is Dutch and based in the Netherlands, but my manager's manager is Danish and sitting behind me. So,
Well,
so
IBM is a huge company. And it is very American across the world. The American culture, I felt, was very solid across the company. But I have a good example where we had a huge call center in Dublin, in Ireland, where we had all nationalities from Europe placed and handling the call sales. And there we had an Italian guy leading the whole Central Europe, North Europe team. And one day he asked me, "What's wrong with you Scandinavian people? Why is it that you don't understand a simple order? Why do you think it's a question? When I tell you to go do A, it's like Scandinavian people, you felt that I asked what I thought you should do." And he was really frustrated about, why don't you understand a simple order? And that's one of example of the difference. But the good thing was he came and he raised his hand and he said that. But I think in a big company like IBM, number one, it's an American culture, and it is hierarchical. But having a Dane and Italian and American, you will adjust to the overall culture. It's the overall that's the primary culture, and not the Danish culture in Denmark, for instance.
I'm going to stop you now, Marianne. Thank you so much. Now, I think we are happy that it's summer in Denmark, right? We're very happy.